Welcome back. This is Bimal Chandra Das, Professor of Accounting, Govt Tolaram College, Narayanganj, Bangladesh. Today I will show you how to calculate variances when 2 or 3 materials are put into a manufacturing process. Look at the formulas. For 2 or 3 materials, we have to calculate some extra calculation. These are standard quantity allowed for actual output and revised standard quantity, that means actual quantity using standard formula. This was done before for a single material, but this is totally new revised standard quantity or actual quantity using standard formula. This is needed for mixed variance and yield variance. If you look the formulas, we see that usage variance or quantity variance is divided into 2 parts. One is material mixed variance and the other is material yield variance. So, for mixed variance and yield variance, extra calculation is needed, that is this. Now look at the problems on the screen. So, this is the solution of the problem. We know for standard costing to calculate variance, we need 4 elements, that is standard quantity allowed for actual output, standard price, actual price and actual quantity. When we calculate mixed variance and yield variance, we need to calculate extra mode calculation, that is revised standard quantity or actual quantity using standard formula. Here in this problem, standard actual quantity, actual price, standard price all are given just to calculate the working standard quantity allowed for actual output, that is standard quantity and revised standard quantity. This will be needed for mixed variance and yield variance. So, we look how we calculate standard quantity allowed for actual output. This is the formula, standard output of a mix. Here standard output for 8000 bottles, metal A need 1000 and B need 2000. Here is the calculation for 8000 output, standard output, A need 1000 liters and B need 2000 liters. So, the formula will be standard output of a mix. Here mix is 8000 and standard input for A and B, we write here separately A and B, and standard output of a mix. Here standard output of a mix is 8000 and standard input for A 1000 liter and B 2000 liters. Here actual output, here actual output was 10,000. So, this is the formula. We from the formula we get here metal A standard quantity 1250 liter and metal B 2500 liter. This is standard quantity for A and standard quantity for B. And revised standard quantity, how to calculate? The formula is standard input for A and B separately. Here standard input was for A 1000 and for B 2000, and total standard input of a mix, total input were for a mix 1000 and 2000, total 3000, and actual input here 1500 and 3300, that means total 4800. So, the using the formula of revised standard quantity, we get for metal A 1600 liters and for B 3200 liters. standard input for A 1000 and total standard input of a mix, that was 3000, 2000 and 1000, and 2000 for B, 1000 for A, and total input were used 4800 liters. Here the same 4800, only change item is material A 1000 standard input and material B 2000 standard input. Now we calculate material cost variance. Material cost variance, the formula is actual quantity into actual price minus standard quantity into standard price. Using the formula, we have every calculation just put on the figures to calculate material cost variance. Here actual quantity 1500 for A and for B 3300, actual price was 11 for A and 37 for B. Standard quantity we calculated here 1250 and for B 2500, and standard price was 10 for A and 40 for B. We calculated material A variance 4000 and for material B 22,100. All these variances are unfavorable because here standard quantity is lower than the actual quantity. If actual is higher than the standard, then it will be unfavorable. If standard quantity is higher than actual quantity, that will be favorable variance. In both the cases, for A and B, material A and material B, the variances are unfavorable. That means actual figure was higher than the standard figure. So total cost variance is for A and B 26,100, that is unfavorable. Now we calculate material price variance. Material price variance is AQ into AP minus AQ into SP. We put the figures here. We get material A 1500 unfavorable variance since actually quantity is higher than the standard, and material B actual quantity is lower than the standard, so it is favorable variance. Now total variance we get 8400, that is favorable variance. So material price variance is favorable variance. That means we spend less amount than the standard. Material uses and quantity variance. Here is the formula AQ into SP minus SQ into SP. We put the figures here. AQ 1500, here 3300, here standard price 10, here standard price for B 40, here standard quantity 1250, and here 2500, standard price 10, standard price 40. So we get 2500 unfavorable variance for material A, and for material B 32,000 unfavorable variance. Total unfavorable variance is 34,500. That means we spent more materials for our production. The production was 10,000, but we used more materials that should be used. So material price variance is favorable, material uses variance is unfavorable variance. Adding these two variables, we get 26,100. The total of material price variance and material uses variance must agree with the material cost variance. If you are right, then aggregating two variance will must agree with the material cost variance. Since there is two material in this problem, now we calculate material mix and yield variance. Mix and yield variance will be derived from material uses or quantity variance. Material quantity variance or usage variance is divided into two parts. One is mix variance and the other is yield variance. We calculate the variance for mix variance and yield variance. Here look another thing. Here the formula was AQ into AP SQ into SP, the total variance. This AQ into AP are used for price variance, and SQ into SP was used for usage variance at the last. This is same, this is same, and this is for price variance is same for usage variance. Now we calculate mix and yield variance. Mix and yield variance totally will agree with material uses and quantity variance. Now material mix and yield variance. Material mix variance, the formula is AQ into SP minus RSQ, that means revised standard quantity into SP. We calculated earlier the revised standard quantity. We putting the information in the formula, we get 1000 F, that means favorable variance, and here material B we get 4000 unfavorable variance, that means total here 3000 unfavorable variance, favorable 1000, unfavorable 4000, total variance here 3000 unfavorable variance. That means we used very valuable materials much than the less valuable materials. Material yield variance, that is RSQ into SP minus SQ into SP. Putting the information in the formula, we get here 3500 unfavorable variance and here 28,000 unfavorable variance. Total unfavorable variance here 31,500 unfavorable variance. These two totally stands 34,500. We calculated earlier material quantity variance was also 34,500. So if you are right in doing the calculation, this two figure will agree with the material quantity variance, and total variance will be 26,100. But when you calculate the total variance, you must take material quantity variance or material mix variance and material yield variance. You cannot add both mix and yield variance or material quantity variance. You either add material quantity variance or material mix and yield variance. If all the variance are added, total variance will disagree. Now we go to another problem. So this is another problem. Here three type of raw material were used to manufacture a product: material A, material B and material C. This is a straightforward problem. Here standard input for in A, B and C are given. That is very flat, 5 units for A, 3 units for B and 2 units for C. To produce a product, material A required 5 units, material B 3 units and material C 2 units. Here 250 units are produced. So to produce 250 unit, material A required 5 into 250, that is 1250 kg. Material B 3 units of raw material required for every unit. So here 250 unit were produced, 750 were used, and for C 500 kg were used. Here standard quantity allowed for actual output will be calculated, standard input per unit and actual output. This is very simple. But in the previous problem there was a standard mix. If mix is given, then the standard quantity allowed for actual output is slightly different to calculate. Anyway, revised standard quantity is same as did earlier. Standard input for A, B and C divided by total standard input into total input use. Revised standard quantity for material A will be total standard input for A 5 kg, for B 3 kg, for C 2 kg, total 10 kg. Out of 10 kg, material A required 5 kg. And total input were used 1000 for A, 1000 for B and 250 for C. So, total here 2250 inputs, total input 2250. So, revised standard quantity for material A will be 1125, for B 675 and for C 450. Then we will calculate material cost variance, material price variance, material quantity variance. The formulas are same as we did earlier in the first problem. Just write down the formula and put down the figures. All the figures here are available. Standard price was given, standard rate, standard quantity was given, standard quantity for actual output calculated, and revised standard quantity was calculated, but other things were available in this problem. So, this is very simple. Just put write down the figures to calculate material cost variance, material price variance and material quantity variance. Here material cost variance is 250, that is favorable variance, material price variance 750 unfavorable, and material quantity variance 1000 favorable variance. The adding up material price variance and material quantity variance, we get total variance 250. Here 750 is unfavorable, 1000 is favorable. So, 250 in favor of favorable variance, and material cost variance also 250 variance. So, we did rightly material price variance and material quantity variance. Remember, total variance of price variance and material quantity variance will be equal to the material cost variance. Now, material mix variance and material yield variance. As we did earlier, the formula will be same. Just write down the formula and put down the information. We will get mix variance and yield variance. The total of mix variance and yield variance will be 1000 favorable. Remember, to check material cost variance, we just add material price variance, material mix variance and material yield variance. We should not add up material quantity variance, because material quantity variance is divided into two parts, material mix variance and material yield variance. Hope you will do the material mix variance and material yield variance easily. So, that is all for today. Goodbye. Stay safe.